earlier.
Let's go. Round 5, the Smithies VFL. The traditional home of the Magpies, where these two sides played last year. And quick clearance, Dylan Shield to run onto this footy for Essendon, who works it out across to Foley. Who send the Bombers up towards half forward front position. Ash Johnson takes the mark.
Playing down back. We're used to seeing him up forward.
So Johnson kicks up the line. One-handed there was Will Hall. Lemon Luau just worried off the footy. Here's Carmichael. Bounces off the would-be tackler. Puts it into the path of Lockie Sullivan. Back into the Pies lineup. Good player. Just asked Joe Pignataro. Ball spilling free. Luau. Back across. Hately. Up the line. And there's Jacob Ryan taking the mark for Collingwood.
Coming back from that hand injury that he copped a few weeks ago, so good to see him back.
Johnson, deep inside 50 for Collingwood. Quick kick out of the pack by Carmichael is good. The Pies with the first, a minute into the contest.
It's the 7th goal of Carmichael's season for him. He's one who is a consistently good performer at this level, but just hasn't been able to crack consistent games at AFL level, but he's definitely one that needs to be contained by the Bombers today, Pete.
I mentioned that the win-loss sort of start to the season. They, I think, was surprised a little bit last week in that loss to Coburg. And good to see the Burgers getting a win at home, 87-72.
Now the question is, do you want to be the team that loses to the side who hasn't won a game in over 600 days?
Well, me personally, no. For the Pies. And good on Josh Fraser too, the coach of Collingwood. Was very complimentary about Coburg and the way they played.
Yes.
Great game of footy. Brian gets the tap down. That was almost thrown out. No call from the umpire. All into the middle of the ground, into the path of Archie Roberts. So she gets it back to Brian, whose kick is up towards half forward. And it's going to be turned over. Ash Johnson again, centre half back.
Yeah, maybe it's a brand new position for him. Obviously, Nathan Murphy is retired at AFL level. It's probably a little bit of a gap opening up in terms of that key defensive role at Collingwood. So maybe it's a chance for him to have another crack at reaching that top level.
So Reef McInnes, Jacob Ryan, as Gemma mentioned, in the Pies lineup. Lockie Sullivan there as well. For Essendon, Matt Guelphy playing for Essendon's VFL side today. And Speck gets it out of the ruck and sends them forward. Almost the turnover is on. Shot out the handball was Wiedemann there. And this should be wrapped up, going absolutely nowhere. The umpire will toss it up.
Yeah, speaking of forwards moving into defence, Sam Wiedemann has spent the past few weeks as a key defender for the Bombers, and he seems to really be flourishing in that role. So maybe that's a permanent shift for him as well.
Sardis also playing at VFL level. The fist coming in from Bailey Scott. And that's in the back. So free kick going the Pies' way. Jath was the player pushed in the back. And now Collingwood going deep inside 50 again. Numbers first to the footy here for the Bombers. And they should be able to clear because now they've got the overlap. O'Neill, the skipper of the Bombers, part of that overlap. Copped up the footy though. Here's Richards. Kick inside 50 is going to be turned over and Will Hoare takes the mark.
Will Hoare is playing in defence, obviously, for the Bombers, but the way he's moving, he looks like a forward leading at the footy. It's almost like the Pies are kicking it to the space just for him to move into.
It's just a surname thing. That if you've got the surname before, you've got to be playing down back as Hayes.
No, I think Kate Hoare would argue with you.
Good point.
Aaron Hoare would argue with you.
Coming through. Probably an argument that I'm not going to win. Brian turns the footy over. And Jaff will go with the ball inside 50. And they're just playing kick to kick at the moment. Here's Will Hall again.
They're just picking him out as if he's their forward.
We'll go wide. And it's the mark taken by Scott for Essendon's VFL side. Spots up Nate Caddy. Goes across the grounds to Foley. In the middle of Victoria Park. Ball inside 50. Oh, bounced off the chest. And now they've got another chance over the top. But here again is Carmichael. Just shot the handball out. They work a little bit wider. Allen is there. He's worried off the footy, but they still have the numbers. Allen will have a second go at it. His kick up the line, trying to get into the path of Joe Richards. He did a good job just to control the footy. The kick is superb inside 50, and they're going to slow it down. Ned Long will have the shot at goal.
Joe Richards is one who's been in a nice little vein of form at the moment. He's the one who obviously set this one up, but we spoke to Braden Crocker on the State of Play podcast recently, and he said Joe Richards is the one who's got to next get a shot at AFL level because he's been too good for VFL level.
Make sure you check out the State of Play podcast with Gemma, who's doing a lot of heavy lifting, assisting Joe, well, not assisting, but dominating Joe Pignataro. Not difficult, by the way, as the kick is over to the right. First behind, I should say, for the Pies.
The Pies have done well is they're actually defending the width of the ground really well, so the Bombers have to be really careful with these kicks out.
Will Parker just holding his ground there, trying to come through his lane. And now they got the outlet. It might be Carmichael again. Control C, Control V for Collingwood. And Carmichael has his second.
Again, that one came off the back of that full width of the ground defence from the Pies coming out. The Bombers had to be really specific with the way they come out. They choose to go to a long kick to a pack. It's not one in the air by the Bombers, and once it hits the deck, the Pies are all out. But Carmichael has done a fantastic job of losing his direct opponent in that forward pocket there. How good was the kick, though, off the back of that?
Yeah, 2 in a row. The same spot. Pretty much
Same
exactly
spot.
the same spot on the ground. We've got the ball tracking people here. We might ask whether it's exactly the same spot on the ground. They're sending it up. Where's it going? NASA satellites and all sorts of different things to try and find them.
Quite an impressive setup there.
We might get a bit of interference with the plane going overhead. Anyway, back in the middle. Into the ruck now for Pies is Liam Purcell, number 65. There's a kick from Bytel into the middle of the ground. Pies under pressure. Now, what's the call here? Too high. It's going to be advantage paid. Allen's going to go inside 50, and they're going to move it quickly. Collingwood looking dominant in these early stages, and there is the player on the State of Play podcast, Crocker.
That kick going inside was so perfectly weighted from Allen. Just got it on the outside of the boot, so it came back into where Crocker was leading to. Crocker had done really well to get the front space as well, identifying that gap that had opened up.
Ben Crocker, the players with opportunities. Dylan Shield comes from the ground with a bloody nose. And that's going to come back. No. It's another behind to the total. That one off the metal work.
Yeah, Dylan Shield coming off with what looks like a blood nose. Hopefully it's nothing like Harrison Jones's broken nose from Thursday night, though. Thursday afternoon, I should say.
There's the ball here with Ned Long. Drag down. That's holding the footy. So turnover here. Chance for the Bombers.
Can't go long here. The Pies have got extra player back in Ash Johnson, who's been intercepting everything.
Sardis looks for Brian. Wouldn't you go for your tall timber? It's a sensible move, I would have thought. Anyway, they work it through hands. There's now this kick from that player going up the line. Plenty of Collingwood numbers follow the ball. Nyko's the 23rd player today for Essendon. He had a good start to his VFL career last week. This footy turned over though. And here's Jacob Ryan with the mark.
And this is the pattern that Essendon can't be sucked into, is kicking to that extra number that the Pies have back. It's not necessarily that they're getting an extra there. They're just maintaining their defensive structure while the Bombers have an extra coming up around the footy to try and win it there.
Here's Oleg Markov. He goes wider. There is Johnson, as Gemma's been mentioning. He's playing that role the early stages of the contest, but the footy's been turned over. It's going to come straight back in. They'll get that opportunity on hands and knees, Eckersley. Now they'll have the shot at goal. A little chipping ball. How good is that? Sort of finish from Tex Wanganeen. That is as casual as you will see to get that result.
We should give some credit to the handball that set him up. It was quick, under pressure, perfectly placed. and just acknowledging that they had the open space on that side of the pocket rather than going too far back into the corridor where those extra pies were sitting, actually giving your forward the best opportunity by getting into that space, giving them the time, and it means you can be casual because you're not under too much pressure.
It's like he's at the sort of putting range, and he's just got the pitching wedge out, and he's just casually just warming up, and it just nails it.
Yeah, we've talked about this, Pete. I don't understand golf references.
Okay.
But it was a good kick. Our cam operator Elijah liked that one, so.
Terribly sorry about that, but anyway, you get the idea. It was well finished, and we're going to have this thrown up again.
Was it 3 good goals kicked from the pocket so far today?
Yep. Just say, it's a good crowd for both games today at Victoria Park. First home game in the Smithies VFL for Collingwood here this season. It's a kick. Jaff flew high, couldn't complete the mark. Ball off hands. And now it's going to be play on touch here, Caddy. That ball right to the line. And through for a behind. Looks like he's going to be doing the kicking in, Ash Johnson, as well. Parker got in the back pocket.
Is that Jaff looking a little bit sore, limping around there in that pocket for the Pies? We'll keep an eye on that one.
Let's see if they can get some run going through the middle of the ground. They will. As this ball into the path of Reef McInnes. Little worm burner inside 50. He's looking for Crocker, who now has to lay the tackle. Good tackling pressure. Now the cavalry arrives. Luau got the handball out over the top. Scott, nicely done with that handball. Short kick, not going to find the target, Nyko, but he did well to run onto it, the 23rd player for Essendon today. Shot the handball out. Oh, overlap was superb. Hately will go out wider. Wanganeen from 70 out. It's a wide open 50. Now the cavalry get back. The sort of half fly there from Davey. It's right near the line, and Jaff might be content to see this through.
It was a bit of an opportunity gone begging there for the Bombers because that transition was so good. What stood out for the Bombers for me, Pete, is that they're able to recover even when their disposal isn't perfect. They might have to fumble or they might not take it at the first grab, but they've still got representation there.
Well, there's plenty of representation for the Pies in this play phase. McInnes, but he's turned over the footy. And Will Hoare took the mark. And eventually we'll get to Matt Guelphy on centre wing. So bulk changes coming up for the Pies near the interchange bench. Kick is short. Guelphy got it from Wanganeen. Kick inside 50. No, could take the mark. Bouncing off is Gray. And the Pies again with some good run. This is Finn McRae. Turn the footy over. Around the body from O'Neill. Looking to go out wider into the path of Davey. And they've just lost Anla Jaff doing some good work. Now they get some run. Lane will go wider looking for Crocker. Couldn't quite complete the mark. Again with the tackling pressure. Did well. Now he's got some space. Goes by hand over the top for his skipper in Lane. The kick inside 50, though, is going to be turned over again. Scott dropped what he should have taken in the end. McInnes dragged down in the tackle. Still the Pies with it. Numbers trying to come through. Finn McRae dragged down in the tackle. And the umpire will throw it up.
You're just riding every little touch of the footy with the crowd, are you, Pete? Lots of groans.
Lots of groans. Not maybe, is that they're giving me sort of a commentary on my commentary as Begg. Here's Crocker near the boundary line. Close quarters. Has he kicked that? I think he has. A Smithy snag from Ben Crocker.
Yeah, it was good to chat to Ben on the pod last week. Week before, sorry. It's been 2 weeks since we spoke to him. But he's come back to the Pies after spending some time, obviously, over in Adelaide after his Collingwood AFL time was over, and then back at Carlton in the VFL last couple of years. He brings a maturity and a leadership sort of thing to the Pies now, who have quite a young list under Josh Fraser. He's got an interest in becoming a player development manager as well, so he's really interested in helping those players how he can in off-field respects as well as on-field. using his life experience. Obviously, he's lost his dad and things like that. So he brings so much outside of his footballing ability, but then he can do stuff like that.
Well, I was about to say, if you want to here, look, do what I do. There's the ball back in the middle here. Changing the ruck for the Bombers as well. And they're looking to get away. Roberts, it's going to be an advantage free kick that's not really an advantage. Umpire kept waving it on, but I don't think it was there. Bytel goes across to Hutchinson, whose kick is going to be Long Crocker again, working with Luau. Dive in on top. Sparks trying to clear it for Collingwood. Can't do so. We'll have it tossed up.
A little bit of a similarity to the VFLW match earlier today is that Collingwood just seems to want to get it inside their 50 and then create something from there rather than try to be really measured with their kicks going inside.
Okay, trying to clear the area. Foley wrapped up in the tackle. How did he dispose of it? Was looking to get to Nyko. Couldn't do so. And so Allen will take the kick. Now, no breeze to speak of this afternoon. It really is a perfect day for footy. Let's see if I can break the record for saying that, as this footy's turned over and Tom Thoma's got it.
Your two favourite things, the weather and Tom Toma.
Well, you enjoy these days, you bank them, because we're going into a long, cold winter.
Winter's the best.
That debate will be had off air. There's Santini. Been good, Vigo Vicentini.
It was brilliant late last week.
They come running through, Toma. Now the kick inside 50 is superb. As you called it, Gemma, McGuelphy's on the end of it. Wants a chip over the top. It's a dangerous option, but Roberts was up for the challenge, although he's going to be on a tight angle.
Yeah, I don't know whether that is a higher percentage kick. It might be closer in, but it is on that tighter angle. We'll have to wait and see here.
So Archie Roberts to bring it around. He snuck it in.
Just.
First for him for this afternoon. An important goal for the Bombers as we head towards time on.
Yeah, so the Bombers, they've had some really, really good patches of football this year, but haven't been able to register that win. And I think last week was a bit of a heartbreaker because they were up. Vigo Vicentini was massive, kicked 3 goals in that last quarter to actually put them in front late in that game, and then they just couldn't hold on. So for the Bombers, it's about maintaining that style of footy, maintaining their best footy and their most proactive footy for longer periods of time. So they've won back the momentum here. What can they do with it, and how long can they hold that? That's the question for the Bombers now.
Sardis leading the disposal winners on the ground, 7 in this opening term. Best for Collingwood is Allen with 6. Brian back into the ruck with Begg. Water ground, and the Bombers will be able to get the clearance here. Long ball from Haitley inside 50. Maybe a bit of pushing out going on. Vicentini.
Right as I talked him up.
That one was pretty clear. Charlie Dean to take the free kick for Collingwood. Across to Long. And chooses to live up to his name with that kick. Ball heading towards the line. Going to be kept in by Wiedemann. Goes short, Foley. Ball over the top, and they do this by a short handball, and they should be able to get out on that outer side until that kick, which is turned over. Long there again. Kick into the middle of the ground. Dangerous, Carmichael. The ball just pinballing around. Sardis going around the body. High ball. Okay, flying. Ball off hands. Vicentini. He was pushed down at the crucial moment. The guy again. He's get it underneath. And through for a behind. In fact, it's Gray, number 81.
Some seriously good defensive efforts from Collingwood there. A couple of shots that could have been certain goals, but they were able to just interrupt it, just get a finger on, just lay the tackle.
Here's the new recruit, pick number 25 overall in the draft. It's Matia. He was a really good pre-season. Unfortunately, just injured himself, so he's been delayed in terms of seeing him out there on the field of play. Here's Lane through that chain of handballs. Crocker. Kick up towards half forward, and here is Crocker. Chip kick over the top. Fist coming in, nicely done from Wiedemann to put it over the line.
Crocker did the bodywork early there. He was the only Pie inside 50 in a one-on-one. He did the bodywork early to get that space, to be that link at the top of the 50. He's so smart with reading how the ball is coming down and how quickly he can actually get into the position he needs, how quickly he can get the space from his opposition.
William Purcell over the top there for the Pies from that ruck contest. Carmichael to run onto this footy. He's at 50 now. He'll have a shot from there, and he's going to miss to the left.
He's on today, Carmichael.
Yep. A lot of space there to work into.
Yeah, how he's still getting that much space when he's already put 2 on the board is probably something for great Blake Carousella to address at quarter time.
It's Hayes to bring the footy back in for the Bombers. Kick looking for Brian. Oh, flying over the back though is Gray. So Campbell Gray. Getting up the line. Dematia there at the back for Collingwood. Here's Lockie Sullivan, of experience. Across there to Oleg Markov. And he'll go wider. Lane. Sparks. Inside 50 they go, and the footy's been turned over again.
The issue there, Gray took a great mark, but Collingwood, the way that they spread back into defence is so much more aggressive and proactive than when the Bombers actually need to get into an attacking position. And it just means there's no options ahead of play. And then by the time you're forced to play on, you're under pressure, the kick is not going to go where you want it to. So a little bit more proactive attacking run from the Bombers, I think, would really help them.
Dylan Shield back out on the ground. And that blood nose, that's all cleared up. Towards half forwards. Byzantini flying in that situation. Tackling pressure good from the Bombers, and we'll have another stoppage. Just waiting for the ruckman to get into position.
Sardis and McRae going head-to-head at stoppages is a fun little matchup to keep an eye on as well.
Sardis is just trying to direct traffic. There's Carmichael for Collingwood. Tell him to slow down. Long. Across there to McRae. Finn McRae towards the 50. That is a terrific mark. McKay going with the flight of the footy. To Foley. Will kick wider dangerously. Lane coming in to affect the contest against Roberts. Roberts was up to the challenge. The kick is good. Finds the captain in Xavier O'Neill. O'Neill goes with a shorter ball. Dylan Shield. Well, in the Davey direction. He takes the mark. And now the kick inside 50. It's nicely taken by Johnson. Over the top of Gray.
It either needed to be a shorter kick to allow Gray to move on to the ball, or it needed to come in flatter and faster. It didn't really give Gray any real shot because he just had to sit under it and hope that he was going to be the first one to get the footy.
Jaff. Dean. Now the kick over the top is good for Lane. Shorter kick for McRae. Don't try and get some run going. Ball into the path of Lockie Sullivan, but the boundary line is there and we'll have it tossed in. So well into time on in this opening quarter, an even quarter of football. Entertaining sort of stuff from these two sides.
Bit similar to the VFLW game earlier today as well, Pete. It feels like the Pies are dominating, but Essendon's just always able to kick that quick goal to keep them either within touch or in front. Obviously in the previous game it was to keep them in front, but here they're only a goal down, even though it feels like they haven't really had a lot of control in the game.
So Brian with the front position. You always feel he's going to win that against Purcell. McRae going around the body though for Collingwood. Wiedemann just trying to create that body space. And the ball again over. Ryan Sparks seeing it over there for Collingwood.
This is a dangerous spot for the Bombers to be in though. We know how good those small forwards, particularly Carmichael, so you'd hope that he's being matched up on right now, can be in these circumstances.
Brian just going himself and then kicking straight to the boundary line. It will be kept in long. Some nice space of territory, but the kick was partially smothered. They'll have another go here, trying to put it inside 50. The target on that occasion was McInnes, quickly kicked out of the pack and through for another behind.
It was Hayes there that got the spoil in. He was super impressive last week. I think he's been impressive all year, to be fair, Lewis Hayes for the Bombers. But last week in particular,
Sorry.
Gasp there. Joey a couple of times likened him to Dustin Martin because he's got such long arms and he gets that spoil in really impressively.
Here's Dematia. Trying to pick up the footy. Was he held? No advantage going to be paid. This footy's coming
50.
back. And 50. It's going the other way, actually, the free kick.
Yes.
So I'm going to come all the way down the ground. Luau. No, he's going to kick it on, isn't he?
It's Lewis Hayes.
Hayes, who's got it.
Man, I was just talking about.
Unfortunately, the 50 not really beneficial because the numbers are flooded back. So this kick's going to go long. Bryan from position takes the mark. Nicely done. They don't get any shorter. There you go. There's another cliche for you. Nick Bryan, his first of the day.
I spoke about him at the top of the game, Pete, but he's just been so impressive. The way he attacks the footy in the air, he's arguably their most dangerous player in the air, even with Nate Caddy in the side.
Averaging around 12 disposals a game. Of course, plenty of hit-outs too. Just the one goal this season so far in the 4 games.
Still.
And he'll remain at that tally. Sardis is up to 11 disposals. McRae with 8 for Collingwood. As the Pies look to clear the area pretty quickly. Front position was Sparks, ball near the line. And we'll have it thrown in. Talked about Essendon playing Southport last week. The Pies have got Southport up there next week. Bankhouse a reserve.
Got a bit of confidence about them at the moment, Southport.
So Neil's kick going inside 50. Clean bowls the initial pack. The number's still here for the Pies. Still need to be clean as Willis, the 23rd player, finds Crocker. It's Connor Willis, set number 64 for Collingwood today. Markov. Jath. Whistle. What's happening off the ball? There's something going on off the ball.
Against Ben Crocker.
Oh, so it's it. So Luau's got it. We'll have to go back and work over the mark. Is it 50? No, just the mark being set. So Luau just go into the pocket. Oh, loose checking. A breakdown in communication from the Pies defenders. Jared Eckersley, the former son, will have a shot at goal.
The reason Luau wanted to move that ball so quickly before the mark was even set was because he knew that Eckersley was sitting there on his own. He wanted to try and get it in there as quickly as he could. But luckily for him, no one noticed that he was there still.
Remembering last season, Eckersley was the only Gold Coast Suns VFL listed player. And here he goes. And it is another behind to the tally. An interesting opening quarter of football. 3-4-22 Collingwood, 2-5-17 the Bombers. And we'll take a break here at Victoria Park on a beautiful day. As we're away in term number 2. They're getting the tap down, but Bryan at the fall of the ball, just trying to paddle it forward. Doesn't want to sit on top of this. McRae lurking as well. Ball spilling free. Allen, who was overrunning it, and now Pies looking to go forward. It's very untidy at the moment. Sardis, I should say. Across to Roberts. The kick is short. The kick is good. Guelphy. It's his teammate running in Scott. Oh, that's beautiful movement of the footy. And they eventually got out. Oh, he wanted to play on here, Gray, and he's missed. Dear, oh dear. Great build-up. Not so much the finish.
Should I just repeat what I said when we came back in? Kicking themselves about not making the most of their opportunities. The build-up, as you said, was brilliant. And you can see the difference when players like Guelphy and Sardis get the footy. They're so clean.
Was Hayes. Boy, he was taken as soon as he got the footy there.
Just tackled while he was still completely in the air.
Oh, it's those dangerous, it wanders into dangerous tackle territory, doesn't it?
Reef McInnes was good in the way he brought him down to ground, though.
It's McRae goes to the one-on-one, the only one-on-one inside 50 or on the 50. And Will Hawes taking the mark.
Hawes been good early, as we've talked about. We're liking Hayes' game as well, so it's a positive, but also you don't want your best players to be your key defenders, do you?
Aidan Begg just working Brian under the footy. Looking to go long. Back from whence it came. 2-on-2. Bombers still with the numbers. They have to retreat ground. Share it amongst yourselves, boys, as Haitley just had to rip it away from Hayes. All's well that ends well. Lual's got it. Kick up the line to Foley. Bombers looking to build. And nope, they're going to turn the footy over. On centre wing, Parker's got it. And this is a bit of kick-to-kick stuff. Wiedemann coming out and taking the defensive mark. Again. Short ball, Paris. And they'll share it around here, the Bombers. Again, getting some disposals on that outer side of the ground. Now Gray. Kick inside 50.
Turn and go, turn and go.
And he is turning, but he's not going, Roberts. He'll go back and have the shot. Kicked a goal in the opening quarter. Chance at his second here.
Look, I love the confidence in yourself. That's important. But also, when you've got Nate Caddy on his own in the goal square, maybe that's the option.
Well, all's well that ends well if he can kick it from 49 out. You get away with it this time,
that
Archie.
Makes up for it.
His second of the day. And it's a close contest. The early stages of this second quarter, unlike what's going on at Icon Park at the moment. Very quickly around the grounds, just more because it's notable than anything else. But the Cats, Geelong are playing Carlton. They're almost done there. 23-18, 156 Geelong. Carlton 8-7-55. A 101-point lead to Geelong.
Yeah, look, Geelong's had two big wins today. VFL as well. VFLW, sorry, they beat Carlton too. So it's a good day to be a Cats supporter, I suppose.
Well, they go triple or nothing later on.
Look, there's every chance.
So ball back in the middle. We focus here on the here and now, Victoria Park, and we'll do a take two.
Now, Pete, there are 3 players that have been named in sides for, I think, tomorrow's games across the VFLW and the VFL men's. But we don't see a lot at this level. One of them is Ellie Blackburn.
Yep.
Who hasn't played a VFLW game for 5 years. So that's worth watching.
As we'll see what happens with this. Johnson just shooting the handball out. This may only be temporary relief. That kick not the greatest. Roberts brought down and Pink holding the footy. So Jaff, who's kicked partially smothered, but it's fortuitous because it's worked into the middle of the ground.
Kick.
Richards, long ball, and here's Crocker.
Their connection with one another is clearly really, really good. But the way Richards just has that low centre of gravity, he moves almost like Kieran Jack used to. You know, that rugby-style movement, able to just get out of danger and then break into space really effectively.
So Crocker kicked the goal in the opening term. And he's put it across the face. It hasn't got the trip through for another behind. Just continuing that train of thought about players coming in, though.
Yeah, so Ellie Blackburn playing her first VFLW match in 5 years for the Western Bulldogs, so definitely worth watching that one. Ali Morfitt All-Australian ruck last year off just 7 games. She's going to come back from a wrist injury for the Swans and play against Box Hill tomorrow in the VFLW. Box Hill is undefeated at the moment, so the Swans will be looking to break that. And Luke Parker couldn't get back into the Swans AFL side, playing down at the MCG tomorrow against Hawthorn. So he's going to play his first VFL game since 2012, where he had 42 touches.
Fenju Stadium or the Box Hill City Oval. Third game tomorrow. Ellie Blackburn at the Whitten Oval with the Western Bulldogs as Guelphy's kick here finds Wanganeen. Kick inside 50. The big fly by Gray. Evades an opponent. The handball. Interesting. O'Neill looking to go back in that direction. They're taken a little bit high was Park up and will take the free kick for Collingwood.
Gray's doing so much right, but he's just lacking that tiny bit of polish on his disposal, isn't he?
So Collingwood looking to go outside defensive 50 by handball. Willis, the 23rd player, kicks into the middle of the grounds. No one can claim it. Now we've got some runners. Markov just towards the middle of the ground. It's untidy stuff. Carmichael can't get a good run at it. Sardis does. Lean disposal winner on the ground. Guelphy. Plenty of time and space, and his kick inside 50. Speaking of time and space, they're just lining up. Wanganeen gets on the end of it. Could have kept going. Decided not to. Little chipper over the top, and Dylan Shield will have the shot at goal.
It's a couple of times the Bombers have been able to just get that extra mark inside 50 with players losing their direct opponents. So a little bit of loose checking from the Collingwood defence. Lots of aircraft today.
Yep. Shield. Excellent. Great finish, Dylan Shield. Quality player, as we know. His first of the afternoon. The seesawing battle continues here at Victoria Park.
Is it the first time that they've hit? They were in the lead by 1 point, but just with that loose checking, you probably forgive your defenders for allowing that shot because it's tied up against the boundary, just like the one in the previous quarter was. Tied up against the boundary, it's a low percentage shot on goal. So if you really want to defend the really dangerous shot, you're defending the corridor, you're defending your big marking targets like a Caddy, like a Gray. But that's twice. Once in the first quarter with Archie Roberts, now with Dylan Shield, those midfielders or wingers sliding forward into that pocket and being recognised by their teammates for one, but then actually going back and slotting it from around the corner. You probably have to start defending those a bit better now. You can't just say, oh, it's a low percentage shot, we're okay to let that one go.
Shield working with Brian, and now the kick up towards half forwards. Players leading in the race. One of those was Eckersley with front position. And he'll take the free kick. Jared Eckersley, he played on. A little low kick. It's going to work out, I think. A little juggler inside 50. And Jackson Haitley, the vice-captain, takes the mark. But I think also, just on your previous point there, I think the fact you're saying players, because there are a number of them finding that space.
And it's a work rate thing as well. It's midfielders sliding forward. It's not a forward who's just been sitting there and hasn't been marked. It's a midfielder or a winger that's worked into the 50 and lost their opponent in the process.
So Jackson Haitley, one of the vice-captain this season. The kick is to the right.
Just didn't look confident coming off the boot, did it?
So Charlie Dean to bring the footy back in. That taste of AFL action. Now working with the VFL Pies. Long kick. And Wiedemann at the back, sending that to the line.
We should mention there's a lot of small children fully decked out in footy kits today with signed Guernseys. It's a good vibe.
Good to see. And they'll be out having a bit of kick, I suspect, at half-time.
Yes, absolutely.
Brian down to Shield. Up towards half forward. Tackling pressure good by the Bombers. As they all untangle themselves from that. As Cam Nyko gets to his feet. Was good last week too, Gemma.
Was just about to say that. He actually really impressed last week as the 23rd man. And he's doing the same today. He just has that, it's not aggression, but it's that proactive, quick decision-making, defensive mindset around the contest that really stands out.
So the ball into space. It's just being hacked forward here. Allen just overran the footy, but they've still got the numbers, the Pies. Didn't work hard there was McInnes. Now offhands, he's going to get the handball receive. How's the finish from Reef? Through for a behind.
He'd worked well there to not allow an intercept mark initially, and then to win it back was just remaining involved in the contest.
Now to Foley. Luau again. The kick is a good one. Here is Nyko. Right near the boundary line. Bob Rose stands. Victoria Park. All the stories it could tell from over the years. Some of them at halftime maybe, as all with Toma. It's Tom Toma, favourite of the State of Play podcast. As Haitley just had the ball taken from him, but Shield is there. And Shield's kick will go towards the boundary line. This has suddenly become heart and mouth stuff when that happens, and we'll have it tossed in. Yeah,
there was no way that could have been paid. Thank goodness it wasn't.
You would like to think.
Yeah. But also, we acknowledge umpiring is a tough job. I couldn't do it.
Too true. I could, but I'd be no good at it. Big. Losing a handle on it is Tom Toma. Ball into space. Looking here, Allen. Oh, that's a high shot. Every day of the week. That's a textbook one. I reckon I could call that one. Sparks has got it.
That was almost a professional free, as much as it looked pretty nasty.
Oh, Sparks trying to get round one. Couldn't get around the seconds. And Visentini will take the free kick. Towards the line we go. Little juggler. Oh, that was nicely done. Wanganeen again. His kick up the line. Here's a good one. Nyko finding some space. Handball inside 50. Roberts fumbles at the crucial moment. Still gets it away. Around the body. Haitley through for a behind.
He's missed one to one side, one to the other now, Haitley. Next one's got to go through the middle.
He'll hold you to that. So it's Johnson to bring the footy back into play. The arm wrestle continues here at Victoria Park. Lane. One of the co-captains this season with Sam Glover, which is good to see. Good reward for Campbell Lane. He's been on Collingwood's VFL list for a number of years. He gets his opportunity as skipper, of course, as McInnes coming on the long lead. Come off his hands. O'Neill is there. And all over the top. Will this end up with Wanganeen? No, a little bit too slick there from Nyko. Ball spills out by Tell. Ball bobbling around right near the line. Guelphy's kept his footy in and he's away. He slows up. He's going to have the shot and he's going to miss to the left.
Did everything right until he almost panicked, realising how much space he had there. Had to toss up between taking a bounce and continuing to run or taking the shot. Ended up being a bit of a lackadaisical kick.
So it's Lane to go as far as possible. Wiedemann front position was almost dragged to ground. Now there's whistles going off everywhere. This is going to be a free kick from in the back, I suspect. And Wiedemann's going to take it. Kick back inside 50. As Davey goes with a great kick. Roberts is going to get on the end of this. And no real options in front of him. He's going to go back and have the shot.
I like this from Archie Roberts. He's backing himself in. He had a couple of mares last week, kicked a couple out on the full. It just wasn't working for him. But he's come in today really confident and backing himself, which is what you need to do to get back from a poor game.
So in he comes, Archie Roberts.
Yeah. Oh.
Gee, look at the flight on that ball, the trajectory.
Turned just that little bit too much, didn't it?
If only we had ball tracking to help us with that. Oh, wait. Now the ball, come back in here. Carmichael. Into the middle of the ground we go. Long. Going wider, and Lane looked to go long again. Dematia. Good to see him out there. The new Collingwood recruits. Ball over the top. It's going to come back inside 50. Lane, well, the one-hander here from Hoare. It's dangerous times if you're an Essendon defender.
Oh.
Real dangerous times.
Hoare did all the right bodywork there. He did the work early. He found it in the space, but he just fumbled the footy, and that's what created this free kick. It was great defensive pressure to turn on from the Pies. It was just that fumble that let Hoare down.
Sam Glover, one of the co-captains, has it. Two goals for the season. Will remain at that. Both sides with opportunities in this second quarter. Matthew Foley to bring the footy back into play.
So the Bombers have all of their tolls that have come to this broadcast side of the ground. They were always going to come this way. They've telegraphed that this is the way they want to come.
As Hayes goes long. Jeff! Flying. Play on, said the umpire. Well, they've got some numbers over here, Collingwood. Diving over the top there. There's been a bit of push and shove going on behind play. Keep an eye on that, Gemma. There's a bit of a dust-up going on. Anyway, play continues. Willis with the ball back to Johnson. Little worm burner as they continue to wrestle there, those two players. Meanwhile, Caddy's got it for the Bombers across to Haitley. A long, high ball. Davey, has he got the sit? No. It's still going to win out, though. Gray, he just needs to pick it up. Couldn't do so. Dematia, his kick. It was going wide, heading towards the boundary line. There's no one out there. The umpire says we'll throw it in.
Pete, would it surprise you to know that Matt Guelphy was the bomber in that scuffle?
Well, knocked me down with a feather.
He and Aiden Begg going at it there.
That's a hell of a dust-up. The other thing was no one else was getting involved. Santini into the ruck for the Bombers on this occasion.
Bombers staff on the boundary are trying to signal.
Quick kick, goal! It's Gray who's got it. He's first, and he's been threatening around goal today. An important goal for the Bombers as we head towards time on.
Sorry about that, Pete. I was distracted by all the Bombers staff on the boundary line, including their runner, their coach Blake Carasella, and a couple of other members of staff, trying to get the attention of whoever is sitting in their box for them. I don't know what they want, given Blake Carasella and the runner are both there. Don't know who else they need to talk to. They seem to have got what they wanted now.
Communication breakdown, was it? But Cam Gray, he's been thereabouts today. You talked about him earlier, Gemma, in terms of, you know, the presence that he creates and maybe just that little bit of finish. We saw it on that occasion.
You're absolutely right. That's what we were probably asking of him in that first quarter and earlier in this quarter is he was doing everything right, getting the right positions, attacking the footy with strength, winning those contests. But then when it came to dispose of the footy or make the decision with the footy, he was just letting himself down a little bit. So that'll be a big confidence booster.
Big trying to go the second and third efforts. Quickly released here for the Pies. Going one-handed there was Joe Richards. Now he's set upon. Eventually released. Shield just paddling it forward. No one's going to be able to get clear from this, you feel. Sparks there. Ball held up. We'll have it tossed up. Brian Lane for Collingwood. Holding that footy for a long time. The umpire's going to ping him. Gets to his feet. A little bit of theatrics as well. Archie Roberts here. Short for Hayes. And now Shield. Sardis is there. Got another short kick option, but ignores that. And goes to two Pies players who could raffle it off. Jaff left it for Johnson. So Johnson's got Lane on the broadcast side. There's a short option. Decides to go a little bit longer, and that's actually worked out okay because Sparks has got it. Plays on. kicks to a very open 50. McInnes dragged down by Hayes. And advantage is going to be paid here for the Bombers. Foley can take a bounce. Has to handball behind him in the end. Finds Shield. Will just work it back to where it came from in Foley. Little ball underground. Here's Gray trying to get through the traffic. Guelphy handball over the top. Have a look at this. Easiest goal you're ever going to see from Visentini. And the Bombers fans up and about, because they are putting a nice advantage over their opponents into time on in this second quarter.
The way that ball transitioned down the ground was seriously impressive from the Bombers there. And I think the credit has to go to the work higher up the ground to create that opportunity, and then Visentini obviously maintaining his positioning ahead of the footy. They actually had someone to go to when they had that fast break this time, as compared to previously where they've not had that presence. It's either been a long kick from outside 50 that has just rolled through for a behind, or has been easily gathered by those Collingwood defenders. That stretching the ground in its length, it sounds really cliche, but that's what you can create out of that.
4 goals, 5 for the Bombers in this quarter to 3 behinds for Collingwood. Bryant getting the tap down right into the path of Shield, just overran the footy. Markov is there with the reply to Richards. Been good through the midfield for the Pies. Kick inside 50. McInnes coming out to meet it. Around the body goes Glover. Just a little dribbling ball in the end. They've still got the numbers. Lane now shot the handball out quickly around the body from Long. And he goes for one behind.
Just back on that previous goal as well, Pete. Gray, we talked about, you know, he's getting a bit of confidence up after kicking that goal. It was his handball that helped set them up as well. So he's starting to be a bit sharper with the footy.
Well, not sharp, the kick out here. The Bombers in a little bit of trouble. Richards trying to extract the football for Collingwood. It eventually spills free. Crocker in a dangerous position. Oh, his opponent lost his footing. Just needs to get the hands free. He can't do so. Good tackling pressure from the Bombers after that error.
They're very conscious of Crocker, aren't they?
Yep, Crocker conscious. Good one to warm up the voice, the tongue twister. And to the line. It's another behind. Similar to what you were saying earlier, Gemma, about the VFL, the Rebel VFLW game, where when the roles are similar here in terms of the two teams, and just feel that if Collingwood can get the next goal, it's still going to be competitive, despite the fact the Bombers have the advantage.
Yeah, and we know that the Bombers, historically this season, have had weaker second halves than they have first. So they need to put this gap on the scoreboard.
Big fly from Johnson there. And I think Jas has come off the worst for wear out of that contest.
They have been flying for the same ball quite a lot, haven't they, Johnson and Jaff?
They might need to just work on their communication a little bit.
Johnson fresh to that defensive line, surely?
Yes. Visentini with the tap down for the Bombers. Ball will be eventually released as Hoare kicks up towards half forward. Bryan comes out to meet the footy. Manages to get it away. Shields lurking. He just can't get near it. Now he just hacks it off the ground. It's a short kick. Charlie Dean takes the mark to Joe Richards. His kick just over the top there of Sullivan's head. And it's going to be turned over. Let's see what the Bombers can do here. O'Neill's kick inside 50. Guelphy got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Now to the middle of the ground we go. Slips catch sort of style there for Parker. Couldn't finish it off. Bombers with another chance here. As Haitley just showing the footy around, selling enormous amounts of candy. And the kick to Shield. And the kick to the skipper O'Neill. Right near the boundary line. So a tough option is going to become a little bit easier because he goes short to Jack Paris.
But it's that pocket again, isn't it? Able to create that extra mark inside 50. The Bombers have been.
So Paris, opportunity to extend this margin. 19 as we head towards half time here at Victoria Park. Kick from Paris is pretty good. First of the afternoon That's a really handy goal for the Bombers heading into half-time.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, it's really important that the Bombers put that distance on the scoreboard at halftime, knowing that their second halves are generally weaker. So putting themselves in the best position possible to then, obviously they want to perform like this again in the second half, but if they do fall away slightly, they've at least put that buffer on to give themselves a better chance. And this is probably the best I've seen the Bombers play this year, and I've done quite a few of their games, Pete, and their transition from end to end, their connection with one another, their choices going inside 50 have been better as well. A little bit more considered, a little bit more composed. And just like in their women's program, they've had a lot of change. Blake Carousella coming in as new head coach this year as well. So just settling into what do the Bombers look like now under this new head coach.
So Purcell into the ruck for Collingwood. We'll get the second bite of the cherry. His kick, though, he's only going to be temporarily repelled. Here is Paris again. Took one high and took the advantage. Pushing Bonin out of the way was Eckersley. He goes handball over the top. Sardis. Eckersley again. Kick to Tom Toma.
Bombers love that pocket.
So the player who really goes the full name treatment, Tom Toma. Just so it is so good to say. Line up and have the shot. Talked about the lack of breeze this afternoon, but still a tough shot to take for T squared. Cusp of half time. Tom Toma. Oh, that's good. First of the afternoon. And important goals here for the Bombers.
Pete, would I be wrong in saying that the Bombers haven't missed a set shot from that right forward pocket at either end of the ground yet?
I think I'm going to say you are right.
Or at least close to right.
Yep.
They look so dangerous taking those shots from there. Obviously, I don't know what their setup is at their training facility and whether that's a pocket that they run out from or go past as they're entering back into their rooms. But they just look really confident going from that pocket. And as long as the Pies are going to allow them to take those marks in there, why not keep that up?
Well, it's interesting because we saw the reversal in the opening quarter with the Pies to the Yarra Falls end of the ground, just struggling to find their range. Meanwhile, ball back in the middle. What's the Pies' response going to be here as we head towards half-time? Sullivan. On the deck there is McRae. It's going to go straight back in. Tom Toma again. This is going to be turned over. And Jacob Ryan with the defensive mark here for Collingwood.
He just read that was going to drop a little bit short and protected that forward space.
Up the line, here's Begg. Carmichael's a short option, heading back inside 50. Thinking about going back to Ryan. In the end, he'll do nothing except hand the footy to the umpire. And the Bombers, nicely done. And they have this lead. Sardis with 22 disposals to half-time. Hately with 15, Foley with 14. And for Collingwood, Finn McRae with 13 leading the way for them. Away we go in the second half here at Victoria Park. Holding there from McRae, who's into the middle. Long, wrapped up in the tackle. We'll have it tossed up.
Lots of children around?
Lots of kids out, enjoying the sunshine and the footy. Dylan Shields was 360'd. Sardis putting the ball inside 50 for the Bombers. Glover coming out to meet it, working in defence. Jath. Now they work it. Sullivan to Sparks towards the 50s. It's going to be a free kick. It will be a free kick. And Ash Johnson, who seems to have moved forward to start off this second half.
Yeah, so what Reeve McInnes has done really, really well is actually really pull his direct opponent deep into the goal square, which means that it opens up those opportunities higher out, which now obviously Johnson moving into attack can take advantage of.
So he's been down back in the first half. He drifts up the ground here. The ideal start for Collingwood. Nope, it's going to miss to the near side. So Hayes to bring the footy back into play. He's going to go as far as he possibly can. Fly, no mark taken. Paris is there for the Bombers, just worried off it. Johnson did a great job. Now Sullivan just fumbled at the crucial moment, comes crashing in again. And this is going to be wrapped up, maybe slightly high there on Lockie Sullivan. Ball's eventually released. There's a quick kick out of the pack. This is going to be a goal. Now Richards, I think, might be the player.
I was just about to mention him to you, Pete. Lual has been marking Ben Crocker for the first half of this game. Crocker's on the bench, so he got sent to Richards. But Richards, he might be small, but he's really quick, really smart. And as we said, he's got that low centre of gravity, so his agility is really impressive. So he's a particularly difficult player to defend, especially if you've got that height on him. We know that Lual is super athletic, but you're always a little bit worried about going for the tackle because you don't want to get them high and all that sort of stuff. So Lual got stuck on Richards there, and Richards just exploited that matchup.
Yep, so he kicks his first of the afternoon, just Joe Richards.
Kicked 6 a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I want those sort of figures again. The Pies are going to get back into this contest. Bryan stayed down the ruck contest. Quick kick, a half volley sends the Pies to half forward. Carmichael's taken the mark. Kicked the 2 goals in the opening term, a little quieter in the second quarter. Well, this will be a real team lifter now.
So a massive, massive pocket of space has opened up in this 50 though. I wonder if they might opt.
Someone going to run into the space. Doesn't look like it. They're going to back in their man, Josh Carmichael. Runs around, gives himself some room. This is going to hold up as they get all the way to the line. Johnson flies. And he's through for a behind. So Hayes to bring the footy back in again for Essendon, looking for Dylan Shield. Finds him. Guelphy is up the line, the commentary side. Decides to go to Eckersley, but surrounded by Magpies. And they swooped in. Here's Long. Well, he's pointing and saying, listen to my name, Long, because that's where the kick's going. Boy, goal square flies. No one could take the mark. Johnson there. Ball's spilling free. Gee, that was a hell of a rise there from McInnes. He just couldn't drag it down. And trying to go the don't argue dangerous from Roberts.
Really dangerous.
And the boundary line is found. A bit of push and shove between the players. And normally the rule is if you put that arm out, you lose that that's your prior opportunity.
It's also dragged down on his head, so could have been called as a dangerous tackle as well. Back
into play, Bryan just getting rid of Begg, then just dropped the footy in the end. O'Neill trying to paddle it forward. We'll end up here with Sardis. Didn't get a piece of it. Now Allen kicks up towards half forward for the Pies. Goes past Luau. Hands and knees is Liam Purcell holding the footy as a result. Bombers looking to clear. Ball up the line into the path of Jared Eckersley. He can't pick it up, and we'll have it tossed in.
The Bombers are trying to go quick out of their back half, but it's not quite the right option, I think, because Collingwood has turned up the pressure immensely and they're trapping them really close to the boundary and then creating these repeat stoppages. Bombers, I think, just need to take a breath and find that uncontested possession game a little bit more to just take control back in the game.
Well, having to work across half back, and Nick Bryan now having to lay the tackle. Allen, Sullivan, kick inside 50, and Wiedemann coming out to meet it for the Bombers defensively.
This is why Wiedemann's transition into defence has... Oh.
You were about to say worked, kicked it to Allen. He couldn't quite pick it up, and the ball will be ball up.
Well, I was going to say, it has been so good because he reads the footy like a forward, so he leads at it, he picks really early where the ball is coming to, so he's able to take those intercept marks because of his ability to read the play. It's just that kick coming out just didn't shower him in glory, but I think the move is working on the whole for the Bombers.
So the ball on the outside, Sardis. High kick, Eckersley there. Good work by Charlie Dean, though, of the Pies. His kick is going to be turned over. A bit of kick-to-kick sort of stuff. Here's Brian, who's got it. Short kick, Sardis, play on. Roberts goes with that high ball. Fly from all directions. Caddy at the back will have it tossed in.
Some very excited young fans gathering that one as it bounced over and celebrating their touching the footy.
Well, they've had a win today.
They're very happy.
7 minutes into this third quarter, you just feel that the Pies need the next one just to keep that momentum going, which is notionally their way in this third quarter. Kick up the line. Nice catch down low from Hutchinson. And by the inventive nickname of Hutchie is McRae.
Ball's living very dangerously up against this boundary line, which is probably good for you, Pete, but not allowing either team a lot of space with it.
So the work here long, got it across to Bytel. High ball right to the top of the goal square. Another defensive mark, sensational from Will Hall.
He's been good today, Will Hall.
Now, he's looking to switch to that outer side. Instead decides to continue along the broadcast wing. Caddy got high. Ball to ground. Ryan going around the body for Collingwood. Ball off hands. Eckersley again. Allen working here with Crocker. All the way to the goal square. And Johnson, how did he find that space at the crucial moments?
I was about to say, Crocker, just go for goal. Don't pass it off from there. But gee, Johnson made that look really good.
The body work against Wiedemann was sensational. Now just needs to finish it, and he does. Johnson has his first of the afternoon, and the Pies reduce this margin.
As I said, they just need to take the momentum and run with it, the Pies, and they've done just that. They've kicked, 3 goals to start this quarter? They're now only 17 points down. They were 6 goals down at halftime. It's theirs for the taking, and as we said, they can score quickly. We're only 9 minutes into this third term.
So 2 goals in this quarter, 2 goals, 2 for Collingwood.
Sorry.
But Essendon, importantly, haven't scored yet.
I don't think they've even had an inside 50 so far this quarter. So what they're doing is working. So now the pressure is back on the Bombers to find a way to win the control back a little bit and not allow significant momentum shifts against them, which they have allowed a lot to happen in second halves this year. And then it comes the mental game. Oh, we've just conceded the first 2 of this quarter.
Is it happening again?
Is it happening again? How do we stop it? We don't know how to stop this. How do we fix this?
So Tom Thomas, he's trying to stop it. Around the body they go. Foley's kick up towards centre half forward, and Caddy comes out to take the mark. Kick is a good one. Visentini flew high. It's a good kick from the debutants into the path of Sparks, who dropped the footy. Good work there by Bailey Scott. And now going for a run is Nyko. Oh, flat floater inside 50. Didn't really favour Caddy at all. Pies with the numbers. Here's McRae. Works it across the grounds. Looks for Campbell Lane, finds him. Try and get some run on this outer side. Honouring the lead of Hutchison, who's got it. Goes over the top. Richards. Just forced to slow down. Finds McRae, who keeps on running. 52 from goal. Oh, that's all timber again. Wiedemann.
Just miscommunication between McInnes and Crocker there.
Sardis. Oh, it's off the side of the boot. Fell to Ed Allen. Had the chance to pick it up. Luau. He's trapping the footy. Then goes behind him. No one can pick it up cleanly. In Pye's hands. And away they go. Richards, little short grubber inside 50, not really all that effective. Foley taken off the footy for Essendon. It falls into Pye's hands. McRae, the chance to finish, he does! Another one for the Pies. It's McRae's first of the afternoon, and now things getting interesting 11 minutes into the third.
Momentum's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and all of a sudden, the Pies have worked out a way to score. They were able to find those inside 50s in the first half, but they weren't able to break through that final part of, that forward line, not that final scoring opportunity. But now that they've done that, they're spreading that Essendon defence a lot better this quarter. It's not just living either as stoppages inside their forward 50. It's coming out and they're going back in, moving the ball around the field as well, rather than just constantly coming in from the same angle. And the combination of McGuinness, Crocker and Johnson now forward, they're three really dangerous marking targets that now are much harder to defend, whereas before, Hayes could come off and intercept. Lual could, go for a bit of a run, things like that.
Climbing high there was Purcell for Collingwood in the ruck. High ball looking for Carmichael, but he's outpointed. McKay takes the mark. His kick is a good one. T-squared. Tom Thomas. Goes up the line. Visentini. One way from goal. Called to play on. It's forced to go wide here. It's still effective. The Pies defenders doing a good job just spreading the Bombers on that occasion. Jared Eckersley's got it. High ball. Wanganeen flew high. Still got hands to it. But the Pie numbers win out. May only be temporary. Eckersley goes around and has the shots. He's off targets. First score for the Bombers in this quarter, coming 13 minutes in.
Nate Caddy's one who's been pretty quiet in this game. I know that as a young key forward it can be really tricky to take a game by the scruff of the neck, but Visentini, those sorts of guys are looking far more dangerous in the air at the moment. Nick Bryan.
And Sullivan just worried off the footy. Scott is there for the Bombers. Shield might have copped one high. Haitley. They managed to get that outlet ball, and now they've got some free players. Visentini has got plenty of space, so he just goes with a high ball, maybe not the best of options, through the hands there of Charlie Dean, and will have it thrown in.
I have a feeling, Pete, that that's not where he meant the ball to go. I think he wanted it to come in inside a little bit more than what he was able to execute, but they've got a stoppage inside 50 now. They need to take control, keep that territory control going.
Visentini into the ruck for Bombers. Jaden Davey shoots it out to Shield. Shield goes around the body, getting to the line. Touched. Charlie Dean was there. So,
imagine if that had gone through.
The margin is now 2 goals midway through this third quarter at Victoria Park in the Smithies VFL, as Charlie Dean says, I'm going long, and does exactly that. Looking for Begg, who got hands to it and just got it moving quickly. Luau to come out and meet it with the traffic coming the other way. It was dangerous, but he did a really good job. Scott dragged down in the tackle. Now Allen will work it back out. Begg's the link player. And now Sullivan. He got the handball received from Bytel. The kick is wide. The kick is good. As they load up again, Hutchinson heating up in this third quarter. The delivery inside 50, not the greatest. Nygo's got it and just goes up the line and finds Will Hoare, who's got it at half back here for Essendon. Just want to reset the balance, but that ball's gone out of bounds on the full. And so Adam Begg will bring the footy back into play for Collingwood.
Pete, there's a small child here who's been running up and down the ramp near us all game, which fans can probably hear. I just wish that I could get my steps up like that little kid can.
Well, I'm predicting, safe prediction, that child will sleep very well tonight. As the ball here with Crocker to bring it back. It goes across the face. Didn't quite get the distance, and Archie Roberts there right on that last line for the Bombers. And the kick from Roberts may only be temporary relief. Matia works it across. Bytel. Jack Bytel Kick going long inside 50. Need the fly. Fall to the back. This might be another one. It will be to the Pies. Hutchinson kicks the goal. Weaved his way through the traffic. It's a one-kick ball game here at Victoria Park.
Just going back to the previous game that we called, Pete, Collingwood down. They had repeat stoppages in their forward 50, and their coach from the boundary was calling for someone to get on the move at stoppages, make something of it, don't allow it to just be repeat stoppages. That there is exactly what I think Tom Cashin wanted from his players in the earlier game. Just on the move, it hit him perfectly and broke through because he was already at speed. It becomes much harder to stop with a tackle than if you've only just started to run because you don't have that momentum yet, do you? So that was just perfect small forward craft, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Hutchinson with his first of the day. I'll correct myself there, that scoreboard. It's actually a 7-point ball game. Ball shot out quickly. Sardis. Good user of the footy, as we know, kicking towards half forwards, but it's going to be turned over. Ryan takes the mark for the Pies. Kick short. Jaff.
Vicentini.
Works across here. Opportunity for the Pies as work through. As Jaff goes long. Well, that's a strong mark taken by Begg. But brought down after the fact. The umpire lets it go. Got the outlier. It's Ryan. Kick up the line. Finds Carmichael.
Archie Roberts trying to get involved.
Oh, good kick. Here is Crocker on the long lead. Chance to make the margin one. So Ben Crocker with a goal in the opening quarter. As we're on the cusp of time on in this third term to make the margin 1 point. They've kicked 4 goals already in this quarter, 4 goals 2. The Bombers just the 2 behinds. So Ben Crocker is going to miss to the left. Now it's a one-kick ball game.
He doesn't have a lot of stats to his name, Crocker, but the way that he leads and moves inside the forward 50 makes him a constant threat. So he's someone that the defenders have to be constantly aware of and defending. It doesn't allow them to, come off and intercept. It doesn't allow them to do those other things because they have to be aware of him at all times.
Well found Foley. Foley's long kick, though, is going to come straight back in for the Pies, you feel, if they're clean from here. Sardis just overran the footy. Player taken off at Jaff. First and second effort's pretty good, but so was Nygo. Did really well. Got it out Sardis again. Davey brought down in the tackle. No call from the umpire. A couple of dispossessions going on. Hard and tough stuff. And the umpire says that one's too high. It'll be a free kick going the Pies' way. So Willis, 23rd player for Collingwood this afternoon. Kick up towards half forward. Plenty of numbers here for the Bombers. Guelphy. Luau can take a bounce and wants to cut him board as well. His handball wasn't clean. Nygo wrapped up in the tackle. Now the umpire will come in and intervene.
This feels a little bit more proactivity from Collingwood. We mentioned it earlier about their willingness to get back and defend, but also running when they do have the footy to get forward. They're very quick. They're very quick to make the decision to run as well.
Paris sends the Bombers up towards half forward, but plenty of numbers here for the Pies. Ryan working there with Allen. High ball, Carmichael going back with the flight. Takes a strong mark, wants to get on with it quickly. Inside 50 they go, Crocker. Now, what intel did he get from that last kick, which is around this area, as to where he's going to place this ball?
Got to sit it towards the right goalpost, knowing that it's going to come back a little bit. It's got that left curve on it. We've seen a few kicks do that today from this spot.
Yeah, Collingwood support team, coaching team, organising the rotations. In front of us, meanwhile, Ben Crocker. No. Exactly the same. Margin 5.
We should give credit to Edward Allen, though. His work on the wing there to set that up was brilliant. He knew he was under pressure. He just held off giving that ball for another half second so that it was able to open up the space in front of him for his teammates. It was seriously good work and body on the line stuff from Edward Allen to create that opportunity.
There's ball to be tossed back in here. Beg, Lane, ball partially smothered, just pinballing around. Eckersley just got that ball out into the path of Sardis, who overran it in the end. Bombers still looking to press forward. Caddy to run onto this footy. His goal side just has to paddle in front of him. He fell over at the crucial moment. Still gets it back. Vizentini is there. Good work from the Pies though. Lane getting involved there. Glover lost a handle on it. This is a turnover. Davey, yes, he got it. Davey makes them pay. Well, they got goal side and they were just able to work it forward from there. But Jaden Davey with his first goal. Bit fortuitous in the end, but they had the ball in the right spot.
It was. We asked for a bit more from Caddy as well. I know that it didn't work for him, but the effort that he made forced multiple defenders to come to him, which meant once Davey got near the footy, there was that little bit of space for him to work into.
Well, it's interesting, the two opportunities that Crocker had, the two behinds, Bombers get it down against the run of play, you have to say, in this third quarter, Gemma, and they make them pay.
And it's what we saw in the last game too. Quick, go down the other end, kick a goal to keep that margin enough that you feel a little bit more comfortable. I know 11 points isn't a big margin, but it's also stopped the momentum that Collingwood's had throughout this quarter.
Bryan and Begg going at it. Haitley there for the Bombers. There's a free kick for a hold being pulled out. It's going to look the Bombers' way. We'll go to Haitley, the vice-captain. Look to drive the inside 50. High ball flying. Eckersley there. Couldn't bring it to ground. Guelphy shot the handball out. And now they've got a chance. Bryan will kick long. Vizentini at the front. Maybe the mark at the back. And good tackling pressure. Will Parker not going to let his opponent get away, and we'll have the ball tossed up.
That break in momentum already obvious. Them getting a repeat entry forward, the Bombers.
Carmichael. Oh, good tackling pressure from Gray. They're still managing to get the footy away. And now the handball over the top. Everything dangerous here. And nicely worked out. Reef McInnes, safe hands. And the short kick is good. McRae. Into the middle they go. Carmichael needs to get some run going. Ball inside 50. Johnson couldn't complete it. Bounces to his feet. Goes around the body. Right to the line. It's going to be chopped off again. Wiedemann. Kick is good. And he finds Archie Roberts, who can go for a run. The kick, not the greatest. Bryan had to sit down for that one. Vizentini, his fellow tall target, right beside him. It's right near the boundary line. It stays in. Carmichael bounces off the tackle. The kick is a good one. They may have opened them up here. McRae looks for someone. Has to slow down. He just goes wider into the path here of Hutchinson, who's worried off the footy. Nice work from Paris there. He earned the free kick. Now Davies kick inside 50. Caddy takes the mark.
He's warmed up into it, hasn't he?
Nate Caddy with the margin sitting at 11 points in the shadows of three-quarter time. As Gemma mentioned, just wrestling back some control in this third quarter, the Bombers. Caddy's kick is across the face. 4 goals, 6 across this season for Nate Caddy.
Back to an even 12 points.
And here's Oleg Markov. Wide kick is a good one. Parker runs into trouble. Holding the footy, the results. Xavier O'Neill, the captain of the Bombers. Send them back inside 50. Long and high, Visentini at the back, the tall target. Nygo, well, he's not going to get an opportunity here because this ball's going to be held up and we'll have it tossed up.
This is where we need someone on the move through the stoppage for the Bombers.
Oh, you can just do it like that. Oh, Bryan. Nick Bryan. Another behind, potentially a handy point.
I just love the way Nick Bryan plays his footy, though. He plays with real confidence as a ruck, that he has the skills to back up that height and size that he's got.
Here, we'll get the handball received. No, he's going to keep running alongside here. As this footy goes up to centre wing, Johnson, strong hands. McRae also still running. They've got the overlap run long. The handball over the top. Here's Lane. Inside 50 they go, and they're going to get the mark. It's Hutchinson again. Well, needs to kick this one. Not too long until three-quarter time. Will be kicked a goal in this third quarter. As Jack. So wait for this kick to come in. Crucial one now for the Pies. Very deliberate in his approach. 49 outs. The kick is sensational. 2 for Hutchinson. Margin reduces again. Back to 7 points.
Hutchinson has come out of the blocks this quarter and changed the face of that forward line. We know Johnson's gone inside 50 for them and a few other changes have happened, but Hutchinson's speed, the way that he attacks the footy, he's been an X-factor player for them in this quarter, and it's been really hard for the Bombers to defend. They're trying to defend that high ball in, but Hutchinson, he's either leading up higher out of the 50, so that shot on goal came from just outside 50 because he's the one that's coming up higher, or he's at speed through stoppage. So he's changed the way that forward line is operating.
The spark, you're talking about the start of the quarter, but still the Bombers hanging on to this lead. Ryan, big weighted down. Sardis is there. We have a barnstorming final quarter coming your way here at Victoria Park. The Bombers, for all the pressure the Pies put on, and they piled on the goals in that quarter.
In position against Southport, I think they've been better today than they were last week against Southport. But I think whoever kicks the first goal of this last quarter will run away with the win. Sardis
leading the way with 34 disposals. Here we go, the final quarter underway in the Smithies VFL here at Victoria Park. Close result between these two teams this time last year at this venue. Kick going long inside 50 for the Pies. Hutchinson's there, trying to find some space. He's taken over the line. We'll have it thrown in.
Quick start out of stoppage for the Pies, though, immediately getting that territory control.
Well, they're winning the inside 50 count now, 40-37. Now still 33-10 in favour of the Bombers. Finn McRae, the leading disposal winner for Collingwood with 25. Ball back into play. Bryan, that front position. Wiedemann, throwing the ball out. Sullivan will just put it up nice and high to the line. Wiedemann is there, but it's through for a behind.
Draw.
I'm firmly putting that on the table. 2 draws in 3 days would be interesting.
What's your feeling on the draw?
Like it.
I love them.
There's Hayes.
Apparently that's controversial.
Yeah, not that controversial. A list of controversies, it's well down the list. So Caddy.
I think it just adds to the drama, no?
Exactly. Drop what he should have taken. And then remember the old days, good old days, as we have here. We have no idea how long there is to go.
The good old days. I didn't know how long ago you were referencing, so I was about to say I don't I don't know the good old days, Pete.
Sullivan. Oh, boy, they come from all directions. Did well to create the contest, but the Pies with the first opportunity. Here we go. Sullivan again. He finishes. Experienced player, Lockie Sullivan. And he gets his first of the afternoon. Scores level at Victoria Park.
I'm going to go back to the draw thing. No, I think I'll stick by what I said earlier. First goal, and that team will run away with the win. The Pies just look up to it, don't they? They're moving quickly. They're connecting with one another really well. They're spreading defensively really well, but then getting it back forward. The work rate is just there, and I think that Essendon just looks a little bit tired at this point.
Well, let's see if they hang on. Something can happen. Talked about the spark required for Collingwood in that third quarter. Essendon need one in this final term. Bryan and Begg. Bryan the tap down. Haitley just tapping it to advantage. Almost. Over his head there was Ned Long. And Sullivan is going to take the free kick. Jaff is there. Streaming through the middle of Victoria Park. A long ball. They fly from over the top. McInnes couldn't bring it to ground. Still got the numbers. Allen shot the handball out. Sullivan again. Kick inside 50. Carmichael. He couldn't take the mark. It's roved off hands. Here's another chest. No, it's been turned over. Scott's got it for the Bombers. Foley right near the boundary line. He seeks sanctuary and gets it.
Joe Richards is a smart footballer. The way he wasn't able to take possession, the way he kept it in front of him to tap it to a teammate to create, to maintain that inside 50 control rather than allowing it to come out for the Bombers. Really smart.
Begg in the tap down. Ball coming straight back in from Long. Top of the goal square. Carmichael off a step. Puts the Pies in front.
No more draw?
Still on the table for me. As Hayes has the footy for Essendon. Foley. Back pocket. Sharon Stand. End of the Victoria Park. Ball, Bryan. Right near the line. Tossed in.
Both teams have lived on this broadcast to win in the second half, haven't they?
Not complaining about that.
Does make your life easier, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Ball tossed in. Oh, just shoved his opponent out of the way, did Bryan. And Nathan Begg will get the free kick.
Nick Bryan's done so much right today. That's the first thing that you look at and you go, maybe not the best choice.
It's actually worked out okay because that footy was fairly moved out of the way. And so I've had to wait an eternity here for Begg to take this kick. Putting inside 50. Behind there, McInnes. Twisting, turning, running out of room. Allen is there. Now they work the handballs out. McInnes again near the boundary line. Squares it up. Superb eyes. And Sullivan's got it again. Great vision.
That work between McInnes and Allen tied up against the boundary to create that, move the defenders away.
So, Lockie Sullivan, there's very few people in Smithy's VFL circles that would begrudge Lockie Sullivan. And I think most people are happy to see him make it to AFL list. Can't finish off the work though. Margin 2 points at Vic Park. Bombers have the bye next week, then Williamstown away, North Melbourne at home, and Richmond in the Dreamtime game. There's this long ball. Vizentini, good mark. Strong hands. Caddy's broken for him. Free player up the line. Eckersley is there. It's a slightly shorter option. Just a little bit stagnant at the moment, the Bombers.
They're stagnant, and Collingwood is protecting the space really, really well.
Gray got a hand to it. Allen is there for Collingwood. Oh, the 45 kick, not the greatest. Wiedemann, high ball. It's got the carry off hands. One behind. Margin is 1 point. Wait for this footy to come in. Sam Glover switched with Ash Johnson after half time in terms of their positions on the ground. Jath's got it.
Johnson's the deepest forward, having to take on Lewis Hayes.
Well, that's here. Goes wide. McRae. And just do it by a short kick. Sparks.
So Carmichael's on his own inside 50. Sardis has come up to closer where the footy is. So now they've had to hand off. So Carmichael's starting to cause a little bit of disorganisation in the Bombers' defensive unit.
So Devantier just goes with a long kick. Sardis to run onto the footy, being worried off it by Crocker. Ball heading forward, Crocker again. Here's Sullivan, can he finish this time? He can't, it's off the post. Back to 2 points. Here at Victoria Park. Okay, to bring the footy back in for the Bombers. Visentini again. Takes the mark at half back. Ball. Brian. O'Neill. Kick towards half forward. Front position Nygo. He's got it. He's wheeling. He's dealing. He kicks long, looking for Wanganeen. He flew high. And this ball through for a brush behind. Jath did a great job.
Yeah, Jath did a brilliant job there. He could have been absolutely opened up with Gray on his own away from their one-on-one contest as well, but was able to rush it through rather than allow them to use their extra numbers.
So the margin 1 point. This is going to be turned over again. Wiedemann's got it. Short kick, but effective. Visentini looks up, loads up. 52 out. Right towards the line. Putting numbers for the Pies. Lane just clearing the area. Visentini's got to sit underneath this. They fly Johnson. There was a push out. It's going to be an Essendon free kick.
He's going to go for this shot as well. Kicked one from a similar spot last week, Visentini, late in the game. He's obviously got confidence in his leg.
Yep, Vico Visentini, 203 centimetres. It's just going to take as much time as possible to get this right.
Down by 1 point.
Visentini, 6 goals won this season. Kicked one today, 55 out. Not going to make the trip. Needs someone to fly. They come from all directions. Lane just clearing the area. I go the player to pick up the footy for the Bombers. McKay, Shield. Over the top here, Scott. Ball going inside 50. Jath with a bit of work to do. Just worried off the footy. Caddy did a good job. Ball spills free. Here is Sardis. Goes around the body. The mark! Yes! It's Gray that's got it. And a chance to put the Bombers back in front.
Nate Caddy, those little touches that he's getting in this second half have been excellent. So he might not have a lot of stats to his name, but he's definitely warmed into the game and he's just playing a role for the team.
Kicked a goal in the second quarter. Campbell Gray steps in and he's got 2. Huge goal for the Bombers in this final term. A seesawing final quarter at Victoria Park.
He kicked 1 goal from 4 games coming into this one. He's kicked 2 goals today, both in the second half, I think.
One in the second quarter, one in the final quarter.
You did say that, I apologise. Both to that end of the ground. They're both something.
Exactly. Both important for the Bombers. That's what it is, back in front.
Was starting to get a bit worried. It felt like every time the ball hit the deck in the Bombers' front half, they just didn't have the representation there. So if they weren't taking the mark with that long kick in, they were all at sea. But the way that they've been able to recover it, trap it in that front half, that defensive effort, and that ring just behind, probably 70 metres from goal, to keep sending it in, that created that opportunity was excellent.
Begg getting the tap down this time for Collingwood. Sardis again, he's been so good again today. As Elijah, the kick though letting him down. Will Parker takes the mark for Collingwood. And away they go on that outer side. Can they build something again? A long ball. Yes, they can. Crocker takes the mark. So he had 2 shots at goal in the third quarter, did Ben Crocker. And they yielded 2 behinds. Here he's got the chance to put Collingwood back in front. We move to the midpoint of this final quarter here at Victoria Park this afternoon. Experienced player. Goal to his name. And the kick on the way is across the face. Margin 4 points now.
Crocker's done everything right except those set shots.
Hayes to Will Hall.
He's kicked 1 goal 4 for the day.
Goes long. Visentini plays flying from over the top. And now away they go, the Bombers. Roberts taking them on. Little high handball, not the best for Wanganeen. He fumbled at the crucial moments. Coming through is Dean. Will work it towards the middle of the ground. Oh, they've got the attack of the fumbles here, the players at the moment. It eventually spills out. Sullivan's kick. Going high. Needs someone to fly. And the Bombers get the mark. It's Will Hoare again. Luau. Little underground grubber. This might actually work out. Visentini doesn't like it below his knees and will have it tossed in.
Bit casual from a couple of players there. Wanganeen going for that mark. Kind of was already deciding what to do with it once he'd got it before it actually landed in his hands. And then Luau there, the kick that just didn't work.
So Visentini and Begg going at it. Begg shot the handball out. Visentini tried to intercept it. Just hacking it forward. Plenty of numbers, though, for the Pies. Markov. Time to steady. His kick. Well, Begg was the front option. There was always someone coming in behind. And they worked it out nicely. Hutchinson's got it.
Wiedemann is the loose man in defence for the Bombers right now.
So the kick heading in that direction. Fly. Hayes. Oh, got to be careful. McKay didn't see that coming. Again, Hayes. Again, not tidy. Again, they're in a dangerous position. Foley. Little handball over the top. They can't clear the area. Is Hayes okay in back play?
He's holding a right knee.
Oh, that's not good. As the ball here by Tell. Lost the handle on it. Now Shield. They work it nicely. Guelph, his kick going long and high. Over the top, Caddy. Nice work by Ryan, though. Did a good job. Here's Dean. He goes with a long ball. Plenty of Pies lining up for this one. Begg takes the mark and goes on with it as well. Takes a bounce. A long ball. They've got to be careful here because there's a player that's down. Working it out is Crocker. Oh, he got up pretty quickly there, did Hayes. Saw the trouble coming, said I need to be pressed back into service.
It was a cramp. He was initially grabbing at the knee and then at the ankle, trying to stretch out his right calf.
And now, I think there's a couple of players that are just struggling with a bit of cramp. Is it McInnes who's just struggling a little bit as well? Oh, just picked the pocket there of his teammate, did Haitley. His kick. And it's Ryan leading in the race. They've just got the numbers. Need to be careful. As Dean's turned the footy over. Haitley again into the middle of Victoria Park and away they go. Here we go, the skipper O'Neill. He loads up from 50. It's got the trip and it's got the accuracy. He's kicked it. He's kicked it. The crowd didn't realise he's kicked the goal. The captain's goal just when they needed it the most, the Bombers. And that breathing space is back again.
The kick from Haitley coming back into the corridor. It wasn't the best kick we've ever seen. It kind of split the two options that he could have gone for. But the Bombers were able to be clean, gathering it. They had enough time and space to make up for the poor kick going inside. And then O'Neill just knew that he needed to take his team on his back, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Just the moment stepped up and he just found himself with that space. Oh, this means something to the Bombers in particular. 0-4 to start off the season. By coming up next week, so close last week. You were at that game at the hangar against Southport. And they have been in contest, but they have faded. That's been the theme of their season so far.
There's still a lot of time left as well.
Have we got a 666 violation?
Xavier O'Neill coming onto the ground into attack.
Yeah, and I think now... Yeah, so just wait for that change to happen, and that's the 666 being called. I saw that from a mile away. Anyway, let's get on with it. 10 points the margin. Brian getting the tap down. He's dominated there today. Shield works with Sardis. Kick towards the 50. Guelphy low down. Gets on with it quickly. Kick over the top. And he finds Gray.
Use your full 30 seconds here.
Yep. Let's see what he can do. We've seen the players struggle a little bit from this side of the ground at that end. Yarra Falls end of the ground. Right near the boundary line. 2 goals for Gray this afternoon, and he goes narrow and sneaks it in for a behind. Margin 11.
This is where they have to trap the ball in. Don't let Collingwood go end to end. Use that really well set up defence. Nick Bryan is sitting behind the play.
Glover to Ryan. Looking further afield, not a lot to kick to up the line here, so the switch may be on.
Forcing that slow movement.
Yep, well, Charlie Dean's all on his own here on the broadcast side. He takes that mark. His kick, Crocker. The drop on his opponent and took off as well, but he's just running out of room. Great pressure from the Bombers, and the ball stayed in as well. Excellent work there from Bailey Scott. He's going to get on the end of this on centre wing. His kick looking for and finding Caddy. Too far out to score, you feel. And his kick going all the way to the line. Didn't quite get there. Phew, thought I might have been in trouble there had he gone the trip.
Bailey Scott has had some unreal moments tied up against the boundary today. The pressure and then the recovery to win the ball has been phenomenal.
So Glover's kick in finding his teammate in Ryan. So Jacob Ryan, very congested up ahead.
You can hear teammates on the bench saying corridor.
Yeah, well, that's where he went. Haitley flew, cop one. He's going to get a free kick. So Haitley deep inside 50. Caddy had to go one-handed in the end. Allen for the Pies. Dean now will just clear the area. This may only be temporary. The pack flies. Off hands, evading Foley. Ball to the line, will have it tossed in.
Bailey Scott again, though, was sitting in front of that pack, knew he was going to get crunched, but was able to stop Crocker from really attacking the footy in the air. He didn't have to take the mark, Scott. He just had to stop Crocker from getting a clean run at it.
Bryant grabs it out of the ruck this time. Kick up to half forward, Sardis. Oh, nice work to Shield, who handballs across and find its target. Ball off hands. They can run it here, the Pies. Here's Long. Can take a bounce. Needs some help. Handball across. Sparks will just go with a long high ball inside 50. McKay, great mark. Defensively for the Bombers. On Hutchinson. That's a goal-saving mark, that one. Roberts takes the mark here and half back. Into time on in this final quarter. Just going by long kick. Can he just held back? Begg will send the Pies back towards half forward. 2-on-2 contest. Rising high, Will Hoare brought it to ground. In dispute in the middle of the ground. Allen, it bounced off him. Here's McRae. Kick, superb. Oh, Crocker couldn't take the mark. Overrunning it was Hutchinson. Doing well, Wiedemann shooting that handball out. It's into a dangerous position though. And here's a chance for Lane. Speaking of captain's goals, Gemma Bastiani.
Bombers were living so dangerously there, so it's no surprise that they have eventually conceded one. It was just really well done. It was Sam Glover who actually protected a teammate winning the footy on the boundary here, so that it allowed them to get that kick forward a little bit more considered than just a dump kick while under pressure. It's those little team things that lift you, right? So now we're down to a 6-point margin. Is the draw still on?
Oh, my word, it is. Absolutely. Start us up to 37 disposals. McRae with 28. And inside 50s, 49 plays 48 in favour of the Bombers. Some of the key stats as we're 22 and a half into the final quarter. It's 2 goals apiece in this final term. 2 goals 5 to 2 goals 4. Who can get out of the centre square? They come diving in. O'Neill at the bottom of it for the Bombers. He can't go anywhere. A stalemate is called. Well, a couple of days ago at the stadium down the road, it was a draw. As Shield conceding ground. Foley will go around the body. High ball. Was caught underneath it. Wanganeen, high ball there. Oh, one-hander! Eckersley guided it beautifully. And a chance to make this a 2-point ball game again. A 2-goal ball game again. It's
the pocket that the Bombers have been loving today as well. So he'll be confident going back here.
And as you suggested earlier, Gemma taking the full 30 as well.
You know that your teammates are a bit gassed.
Jared Eckersley, formerly of the Gold Coast Suns, coming down playing for Essendon's VFL team. Handy point.
Trap it in.
So gives the ball back to Jath to bring it back into play. And the last couple of times they've come to this side of the ground, so Charlie Dean has been the one to make the space on this occasion. His kick, here's a dangerous one-on-one situation. It's going to come straight back again for the Bombers, but we play a bit of kick-to-kick Jath again. Just need to get moving here, just a little bit of urgency, 24 and a half into the final term. A couple of Bombers spoiled each other in the end. Sullivan stayed down. It's offhands Carmichael. Did the don't argue. Flicked it out. Sullivan gone! Absolutely gone cold. Trailing umpire had to call it, but it was there.
Archie Roberts, take a bow.
Yeah, textbook tackle from Roberts. Kick towards the line. It's out of bounds on the full. So here's Charlie Dean with it for Collingwood. His kick is short. And now Jath got the handball received from McRae. Jath going long and high, 2-on-1 in favour of the Bombers. And Mackay takes the mark. Oh, it's going to be a free kick going the way of the Pies though.
Yeah, just being held without it was Ash Johnson. Wasn't allowed to contest the ball in the air.
Well, Ash Johnson started down back today. Kicked a goal in the third quarter. 25, almost 26 minutes gone to that famous Sharon stand end of the ground. To make it a 1-point ball game, he does. Plenty of time still, I feel, Gemma.
There's absolutely plenty of time, especially given it's only the 1 point. Essendon can't let that drop their spirits. They've got to keep it up because they've played some really good football today. But this centre clearance will be crucial. We've seen Collingwood come out and get very quick, very attacking centre clearances to then keep the ball in their front half, put a lot of pressure on the Bombers' defence. The Bombers, if you're the Bombers, you can't let that happen.
Well, now every contest so important to get to the tight part of the game. 1 point the margin. Remembering last week the Bombers fell by a point to Southport. Collingwood going win-loss this season. Trying to get his way through, was long, brought down, Bombers going forwards. High ball, just crashing the pack. McRae getting it out. Markov had to get it from behind him. Sardis, little ball, Guelphy to finish! He's got it! Oh, there have been some cracking matches between these two sides at this venue. Last year it was the Pies getting over the line by 8 points. It could be the Bombers' time right now.
Pete, how good was Eliza Sardis? Sorry, I'm all excited now. Eliza Sardis, the way that he, in traffic, remained so composed, got the perfect handball out ahead of him to a teammate. He's the one that generated that scoring opportunity there. He's been so good. He generally is the midfielder sitting off the back, as we see here, sitting off the back of the stoppage. He's generally the third possession winner. It'll go to Shield and then it'll kind of get flicked around before it comes to Sardis out the back.
Let's do that one again. Keep going.
But because he's sitting in that slingshot position, he's so attacking off the back of it, runs through, and then generally is involved more than once in the passage of play.
Brian. Shield at the bottom of the pack. Sardis. How did he release that footy? Fairly said the umpire. Tom Thomas kicking up towards centre half forward. They've got another mark. It's Guelphy again. He's just going to go long. He's going to go wide. He's going to go high. They fly from all directions. Staying down was Wanganeen. Need to be careful. Paris is there as well for the Bombers. Ball wrapped up. 29 minutes ticking over. Suspect we'll have a 30-minute quarter. They do go long in this competition. Begg just trying to force the ball forward. Quick, you get it back. Hately kicks the goal. That'll just about do it for the Bombers.
11 individual goal kickers for the Bombers. 2 of them have kicked multiples, Archie Roberts and Campbell Gray. But how's the spread of attack from them?
This is going to be a sweet victory for the Bombers against the traditional rival at their home grounds.
Finally getting up off the canvas after almost getting there last week for their first win of the season.
Yeah, they've got the bye next week, then Williamstown, North Melbourne and Richmond. For Collingwood, they've got Southport next week up there. And the Bull Ants away, Werribee at home before the bye for them.
Blake Carousel is still looking very calm and composed on the boundary line.
Well, he could be a bit more relaxed now at least.
His first win as coach.
Margin 13. So Bryant clearing again, and Jath will cut it off for the Pies. He wants to get going quickly.
Gray's been thrown into defence.
There's the long ball. Fred McRae been sensational for the Pies today. Kicks in the Johnson direction. Ball tapped away. Lane trying to get it to Crocker. Being harassed by Foley. Boundary line wins out and we'll have it tossed in.
Yeah, so the Bombers are going all-out defence now with Campbell Gray, their main forward target today, now playing right back into defence.
So 13 points is the margin. Brian, kick there, smothered nicely, but the follow-up is good. Long, Jaff, Markov, kick is good, and McInnes getting back quickly, knows he has to get on with it, so he's just going to take the set shot, and his kick has missed. Maybe a little bit too quickly, but considering the circumstances, he didn't have any other option.
No, it was the right idea, just a little bit rushed. But to be fair, he's not the only one that's missed from the Pies today. They've had a few inaccuracies, as have the Bombers.
So Will Hall will just go as long as he possibly can. Kicks an absolute sack into the middle of the ground. And they're just looking to retain possession now. High tackle from Sardos. And there's your siren. There's a siren. Big win for the Bombers. Their first of season 2024. And they thoroughly deserve the victory too. 12-point win, 13-1997 to 11-1985. Let's enjoy the song.
See the Bombers fly.